Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
So, guys, we know there's a move and a push always forward towards more and more integration of technology into every aspect of our lives, even into ourselves in so many ways.
And of course, it would be for our own good, right?
Always, always. Yes, yes, yes. The Fed Reserve floats more digital dollar plans. So, in these days, so many people are super high on cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and the like, and perhaps digital currency. To me, it kind of makes me cringe because I view things in the light of is this going to lead towards more freedom or less freedom? Can this be used to control, or is this going to lead towards less control, so to speak? And, I know that we do have a lot of people out there that are very invested and are part of this family in cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin and the like, as well as commodities and so many different things nowadays. I mean, of course, you don't make a dime, or maybe it is you do make a dime on like $10,000 in the bank. That's like the type of interest you get nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So people are definitely looking elsewhere if they are able to invest, and always looking towards the future for that great new thing, right? Well, we see this article is from last week, and it talks about the Fed chairman talking about central bank digital currency could render cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin useless. And those comments come on the heels of an announcement last month by U.S. Treasury that it could soon force businesses receiving more than 10,000 in crypto payments from a customer to file an IRS report on the transaction. Meanwhile, as crypto markets continue to trade down from their highs of the spring, investors may increasingly look to tangible, non-digitized means of holding wealth. Hard money is the ultimate alternative to both paper and digital currencies, and concerns over inflation and political risk could eventually bode well for precious metal markets. And, there's always been those that have invested in silver and gold. And as we have said, we at least silver and gold have some real value, and they're actually tangible things as long as you're not getting a certificate that says that you have it. You have to actually have the tangible asset in your hands, so to speak. Cyber Polygon furthers Great Reset agenda of centralized power and surveillance. And we were talking about those people over there, WEC, World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab and all. And so they have their annual Cyber Polygon cybersecurity training exercise that concluded back on July 9th, with several key trends emerging that are likely to shape global policy making for years to come. These trends include a desire to immunize the internet with digital antibodies, to protect society from cyber attacks and misinformation by exploiting ransomware attacks and public health crisis to justify centralization of power and control, demonization of cryptocurrencies in favor of central bank digital currencies, where all transactions are recorded on a centralized ledger and have the ability to grant permissions on purchases, which, grant permissions. I mean, I want to buy this greenhouse. You have the funds. Let's just say the greenhouse costs $200. I want to buy this greenhouse. No, you can't. Well, why? I mean, I got $1,000 in my account. It's $200. It doesn't even matter if whatever the reasoning would be. It just, can you imagine being told no?
Right.
When you have the money? When we look to like Star Wars, right? For instance, and you see the system they use credits, right? It's just an arbitrary system. It's nothing. It's numbers that somebody's controlling. When we start to realize, well, okay, how much actual cash is printed? Like if we all went to the bank at the same time and took out all our money, only maybe 8 to 10% of us are going to get actual cash. because there's not that much actually printed in the first place. It's just an illusion. This whole system, to me, and I'm no expert when it comes to monetary things, just a layman, most definitely, but it looks to be an illusion.
And, you could imagine, what if you're not complying with all of the things, that are socially acceptable? So it just seems like, yeah, it's another layer of control.
Well, we see this Microsoft patents new cryptocurrency system using body activation data. Well, you know those little captchas that you have to go through, and it'll say, click on all the crosswalks, and there'll be like 9 blocks up there, and maybe you see crosswalks in 3, so you click on those 3, 2 more come up, and then 2 more come up, and then 3 more come up. And meanwhile, you're playing this, game for 30 seconds of your life, or maybe a minute sometimes. Sometimes it's ridiculous how long those things go on for. They're trying to see if you're a actual human. Are you human, or are you a computer program, that's trying to mine data, do whatever, ransomware? Who knows? Who knows? Well, this is interesting because this cryptocurrency system, again, think in terms of digital currency, and ultimately where we're going with one world digital currency, all the same. Basically, again, it's just numbers in the ether that somebody's going to control. And how could you know? How could you or I know if the controllers were going to add a 0 or 2 to their own ledgers? And how do we know what's happening with our own ledger in reality when we might not even be allowed to make a purchase? If we look at the wording that they're starting to use, even when we have the money in the bank, so to speak, or the credits or the digital currency. So Microsoft has patented a cryptocurrency mining system that leverages human activities, including brain waves and body heat when performing online tasks, such as using search engines, chatbots, and reading ads. A user can solve the computationally difficult problem unconsciously, the patent reads. So this is interesting, and I do have, there's 2 patents that are almost identical, they look like, for this cryptocurrency system using body activation data. This is like all the diagrams they're giving. So whether it's your smartphone, an app on your smartphone, or perhaps it's actually something that's been integrated into the user's physical structure, if you guys know what I mean here. And this goes over the claims. This is really interesting. This is a cryptocurrency system comprising of one or more processors and memory storing executable instructions that, if executed by one or more processors, configure the cryptocurrency system to communicate with a device of the user, receive body activity data, which is generated based on the body activity of the user, wherein the body activity is sensed by a sensor, communicatively coupled to or comprised in the device of the user, verify if the body activity data of the user satisfies one or more conditions set by the cryptocurrency system, and award cryptocurrency to the user whose body activity data is verified. The system of Claim 1, where body activity sensed by the sensor comprises at least one of the body radiation emitted from the user body fluid flow, brainwave, pulse rate, or body heat radiation. System of Claim 1, wherein one or more conditions are set based on the amount of body activity associated with a task which is provided to the device of the user. The system of Claim 1, wherein one or more conditions comprise a condition that the body activity data represents that the user performs a task provided to the device of the user. It goes on, and it talks about things such as chemical changes in the body, flushing, heat, blood flow. It's interesting. Pulse rate, etc., etc. Gosh, all this reminds me of basically lie detector tests, polygraphs, and which have been found to be 80% effective because they record changes in physiology like cardiovascular activity such as heart rate and blood flow, respiratory activity, skin conductance as well. It really reminds me in a way of kind of a polygraph. So what are they really saying here? And I'll give you guys the links. They're all right there. Over here, you see again, it's getting into the diagrams. Are they saying that they'll basically have the ability to approve or disapprove of purchases and things of the like, buying and selling, trading, etc., based on a polygraph test? I mean, am I like drawing conclusions? But that's what I got, and I've been reading this for like the last hour or so, going through it. It kind of feels like they're going to have the ability to tell, like, say for instance, you wanted to buy seeds or something of the like. Are they going to ask you, well, are you going to ship those? Or are those for yourself? Are you shipping them? Are you buying food perhaps for somebody else and not yourself? Or medicines for somebody else and not yourself? And if you answer yes, they're for me, only for me, and then the biometric comes back with a flush response, well, it doesn't seem like we're getting the answer that they're for you. I mean, am I reading too much into this? Please do check this out, guys. Check us out. It's very interesting. Body activity data. Body activity data. Your thoughts?
Well, it is pretty creepy, and granted, I think it's going to be introduced like physically rather soon. I wish I could say that we had like 20 years so people could really take, certain steps to getting out of the system. But it feels like this is going to hit us, and it's probably going to be activated, I would say, within the next 5 years. And they're going to take full advantage of it. We were just talking to a family member about some of these things and how even the internet, 20 years ago, how it was implemented, as a control mechanism. I wish I could say we had 20 years for this.
Exactly. So this is interesting. I'll give you guys all of the info. Do check it out and let us know what you guys think. Do you guys think this is actually something good and useful, or do you think this is something that could lead to a greater level of control and a lessening of personal autonomy and decision making? I personally feel that we should go back to our roots as much as possible in order to reclaim our ability to self-sustain. And I've talked about some of these homesteaders that are doing it. And this is the Hollar Homestead. These guys are in, they're kind of southwest of Asheville, and they're in North Carolina. What they did was, they basically sold their house in Cali, where everything is so expensive, got a chunk of money, that not huge, but a chunk of money, and bought raw land that had houses on it, had basically a single wide and kind of a falling down farmhouse on it. But it was purchased as raw land because the structures were not quote unquote habitable, even though he's totally redone the trailer basically completely. So they're doing this debt free. So all they got to pay really is their taxes, and they're growing, as you see, like one of his last videos was like, oh, well, the flood is here, the flood of food, the onslaught of food, because they can't keep up with everything that they're producing. But then they could sell it, or they could give it to other family members and friends. Sow the Land is also in the Asheville area as well. And, another bunch of Californians that came to North Carolina because of the cost of living and are doing great. And actually, they're looking to get bigger pieces of land the last time I was watching them. And then Justin Rhodes, who inherited his family farm, he's also in that area too. And he's one of the bigger channels you can see with almost 1 million subscribers. But he knows really how to self-sustain. So these are people that are self-sustaining. And, we can do this on even less than what they have as far as acreage. Like Sow the Land has 1.5 acres. I'm not sure how much the Hollars have, but I would guess 5 to 10 acres. And then I believe Justin Rhodes has like 25 or so acres. But you could do it with less as well. And, this is kind of the way we need to be looking, I think, to have our self-autonomy. So I'm viewing it more like barter and trade as the way to cut out the middleman, because if we go to a digital currency, I just feel like that's an all new level of potential for control and, unfortunately, abuse.
Mm-hmm. And they've proven themselves to not be beyond that too. I mean, over and over again, they've proven themselves to be advantageous of darn near anything that's going to give them more control.
Right. And then I know the whole idea is like with Bitcoin and stuff is that, you're not controlled by the central banks, the official. Well, you see what they're doing here. They're going to be wiping out the alternatives, and then they're going to put in place just one system that they're going to want to be used globally. And it might even be against the law to barter and trade in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a terrifying thought.
Yeah, but it's things that we need to think about and understand, because once again, they've proven themselves over and over and over and over to just keep taking up a little bit more control, just a little bit at a time. Make it really inconvenient to not have internet, make it extremely inconvenient to not have a smartphone. And they just go about this. They're very slow, very methodical. It just feels like things are really going to start speeding up.
And we have gotten that with the time frame that we're in right now, from this moment that you're listening to this forward, the next 3 years are probably going to be the toughest years for us to get through. So this is the time period where we really got to be strong, firm, resolved, and stand up for our truths and our values and what we believe in, because the next 3 years are critical in the time frame that we're in. We do see that things will be getting better. We're really looking more towards 2030 for there being a real big turn, but a slow turn after we get through this period, which should peak around 2025. And then hopefully we'll be getting that momentum going in the other direction. So again, as much as possible, try to be as self-sufficient as possible.
Absolutely. Do your best. Take steps where you can. Do what you can where you can.
Yeah. And thumbs up, support the channel. Make sure you subscribe to both channels. At some point, we'll be able to upload again, hopefully, on Evolutionary. Although that they've done two, they did a strike and then removed another video, so there was a warning. And these were for videos that are old, several years old. So they're obviously looking for things there, and not surprised by that. Thanks for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. Do check out Medicinal Foods. Lots of great products there that could definitely help your health, and it does help also support the family here. Stay strong. Keep throwing out the positive vibes, and we will manifest change. We will. It's inevitable. We are going to have freedom again, but we just have to put that out there and raise awareness. So share, share, share. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.